Hey everybody, HomeSliceHenry here, and welcome to the Fighting Cup. This is a cup in the Great League where only fighting type Pokemon are allowed, and Pokemon with a psychic subtyping are banned. In today's video, I'm going to be showcasing one of the strongest Pokemon in the Fighting Cup, HAKAMO'O, with an interesting moveset. Typically, HAKAMO'O is recommended to run Dragon Claw and Brick Break as the charge moves, but today we are showcasing it with Dragon Pulse. So without further ado, let's hop into the matches and check out Dragon Pulse HAKAMO'O in action in the Fighting Cup. Hopping into the first match, picking up a pretty nice lead HAKAMO'O into Buzzwole. I'm definitely staying in this lead to start, but this is actually a power-up punch Buzzwole. I don't really want to take boosted counters, so I am going to immediately save switch into Toxicroak, and my opponent responds with Poliwrath. Poliwrath is a fairly decent response since the Mud Shot damage is going to add up quite a bit. I go for the Mud Bomb bait, and they call my bait. That is quite unfortunate. Scald is going to do a ton of damage here. Toxicroak barely able to hang on. Can we make the Mud Bomb? Yes, we can. And at the very least, I will be able to force a shield here. Mud Bomb does get the shield. I bring in HAKAMO'O, and they fire off that Ice Punch immediately. This should allow me to farm down, and I'm going to be able to leave with a ton of energy. And that Buzzwole doesn't have a lot. Back in comes the Buzzwole. HAKAMO'O is absolutely loaded. I fire off the Dragon Claw, as this should be Dragon Claw and farm down range. In the back, they have Toxicroak. I'm going to guarantee a shield here with the Dragon Pulse. Dragon Pulse does get shielded, and then I can safely bring in Buzzwole, and the counters will put it into superpower range. I am going to respect the potential Sludge Bomb. They full send it, and I'm going to fire off the Superpower. Superpower is resisted, but Buzzwole has a high attack, taking down the Toxicroak. Buzzwole able to reach one final move, but at this point, this game is finished. It's only a power-up punch, and that is a good game. Hopping into the next match, leading HAKAMO'O into Throw. Throw does run Zen Headbutt, which hits for super effective damage, but HAKAMO'O is so tanky that it absorbs the super effective damage like it's nothing. You know what? I'm going straight for it. Full sending the Dragon Pulse. It connects, nearly taking down the Throw. I'm going to let this through. Throw fires off the Body Slam. They save switch into Hisuian Sneasel, and I respond with Toxicroak. Hisuian Sneasel and Sneasler are both pretty scary Pokemon, because they both have access to Aerial Ace, which hits my entire team for super effective damage. So I'm going to farm up, and at this point, I'm just going to let this go. Opponent baits with an X-Scissor, and that is a massive mistake, as they're forced to burn even more energy. Aerial Ace will take me out, and now I'm going to go for the hyper-aggressive farm down with Buzzwole. I will have to commit a shield, but Buzzwole with energy can be incredibly deadly. HAKAMO'O is the bulk on this team, and Buzzwole brings the damage. Opponent has their own HAKAMO'O in the back. I'm firing off the Superpower. Superpower, big damage. I switch in HAKAMO'O, and I'm able to get them very low. At this point, I should be able to counter down the rest of their team without having to use a charge move. I shield up the Dragon Claw, farm down the HAKAMO'O, farm down the Throw, and farm down the Sneasel, and that is a good game. Hopping into the next match, leading HAKAMO'O into Toxicroak. This is a pretty decent lead for HAKAMO'O, and honestly, as you play more of it, you're going to realize that there's not really too many leads that HAKAMO'O can't handle. I shield up the Mud Bomb, and I'm going to fire back with the Dragon Claw. This will get the Toxicroak quite low if they let it through. They do commit the shield. They save switch into Poliwrath. I farm up, switch, and I'm able to catch the Ice Punch onto Toxicroak. That is absolutely huge. And now, I'm just going to commit to a Sludge Bomb to force them to fire off a move. They are going to fire it off. I'm just going to let it go. It is a Scald, which does a ton of damage. And now, I'm going to go for energy on Buzzwole, which I really like doing with this team. I'll shield the Scald because that would do a ton of damage, but Buzzwole with energy is just such a good closer. They bring back in the Toxicroak, and I'm firing off the Superpower. Superpower does get the shield. I go for the second, and they catch on Lucario, but even debuffed, this is gonna one-shot the Lucario. Back in comes Toxicroak. I snipe with the Dragon Claw from HAKAMO'O, and that is a good game. Hopping into the next match, leading HAKAMO'O into Sneasler. This is a very scary Pokemon to see. They farm up some energy, save switch into their own dragon, which is Komo-O. I'm going to respond with Buzzwole. Buzzwole does very safely tank a Dragon Claw, so I am going to let that go. And then I'm going to overfarm quite a bit here. because I found that when facing Sneasler, you don't want to give them a lot of farm. So I throw the superpower, I take out the HAKAMO'O, but since I let myself get low, the Sneasler is now going to get not a ton of farm in return. Back in comes HAKAMO'O, and I'm going to fire off the Dragon Claw. Let's start getting those shields. Dragon Claw does get the shield from Sneasler. Sneasler banks a bunch of energy, and they're running double dragon. They have HAKAMO'O in the back. I fire off the Dragon Claw. I get the final shield, and I'm going to bring in Toxicroak. Toxicroak does tank a Dragon Claw, so honestly, at this point, I think I'm just going to save my shields, if at all possible, for my own HAKAMO'O. I'm going to fire off the Mud Bomb. Mud Bomb is going to get them low, and here, I have put myself fairly low to the point where Sneasler is not going to get a ton of farm. And now, it's all up to HAKAMO'O. Can HAKAMO'O farm down before Sneasler reaches 3 Aerial Aces? Aerial Ace number 1, shielded, they throw on alignment, and I get a free Dragon Tail. Come on, HAKAMO'O, we farm down, and that is another win. Hopping into the next match, going for the 5-0, leading HAKAMO'O into Toxicroak. This is a pretty nice matchup for HAKAMO'O, especially when my opponent throws on alignment. I get an entire free Dragon Tail. I shield up the Mud Bomb, and I'm going to be firing off the Dragon Claw. This is going to be getting the Toxicroak quite low. They let it through, and I'm able to Dragon Tail down. In the back, they have their own HAKAMO'O. I'm going to fire off a Dragon Claw to get a shield, and then I am going to be counter switching into Toxicroak. Toxicroak does have the ability to survive a Dragon Claw, but unfortunately, it will put it into farm down range for the HAKAMO'O. So at this point, my goal is basically just to try and get shield advantage, and then hope that Buzzwole with a shield advantage can close in the end game. I'm able to get the shield. You know what? I'm going to bring in HAKAMO'O here, basically just to use it as a third shield, if at all possible. I bring in HAKAMO'O. In the back, they have HAKAMO'O, and they're able to hang on to their energy. That is honestly not great for me. And now, I'm in a bit of a tough spot. I shield up the Dragon Claw. If at all possible, I need to get to the back-to-back superpowers. They're able to reach a Dragon Claw. Can Buzzwole tank this? Buzzwole cannot. And we lose the 5-0. Hopping into the next match, leading HAKAMO'O into the mirror. And these battles are from an earlier set where, unfortunately, I hadn't yet discovered that I could run Dragon Pulse. So as you're going to see, I did include these battles basically just to show that Brick Break doesn't really do anything for you in this meta. I shield up, and it's a simultaneous save switch, Toxicroak into Shadow Hitmonchan. Hitmonchan is going to fire off an Ice Punch. That gets Toxicroak low, and I'm going to fire back with the Mud Bomb. But if they want to, they can shield us up, farm me down, and leave with some energy. They shouldn't have another Ice Punch, but they do have the Power Up Punch, and they're able to win CMP. Power Up Punch will not KO, but it does get my HAKAMO'O extremely low. I fire off the Dragon Claw. Dragon Claw will take them out. And here, I kind of just need to blind switch into Buzzwole. Let's see what they have in the back. They have Toxicroak, and this is a little scary. Sludge Bomb would do a ton of damage. I should be able to outpace here, so the thing I have to watch for is a potential catch. I shield up, it's the Mud Bomb bait, I farm, they go for the catch, I'm able to farm down, and I leave with the back-to-back superpowers. That's huge. Firing off the first, superpower goes unshielded, Buzzwole able to counter down, and that is a good game. Hopping into the next match, leading HAKAMO'O into Shadow Hitmonchan. I have 2 better responses in the back, so I throw 1 Dragon Tail, and I save switch into Toxicroak. Toxicroak doesn't take elemental punches too well, we found that out last game, so I will commit the shield, and they respond with their own HAKAMO'O. No baiting here, I'm going straight for the Sludge Bomb. Sludge Bomb does get shielded. HAKAMO'O continues to farm, I'm firing off a Mud Bomb. This won't do a lot, but it will get it kind of low, so they do decide to commit the shield. They leave with so much energy, and that is quite unfortunate here. I bring in my own HAKAMO'O, and I'm able to take 1 Dragon Claw, so I am going to let it go. And then I try and go for the farm down, but they fire off another. This is a tough call to make. I commit the shield, trusting in my HAKAMO'O. They bring in the Hitmonchan. I'm going to fire off the Dragon Claw. Dragon Claw will be taking out the Hitmonchan. What do they have in the back? They have Sneasler, and unfortunately, this is game over, because Sneasler does have access to Aerial Ace, which hits Buzzwole for double super effective damage. So I bring in the Buzzwole. Buzzwole is going to get absolutely shredded by an Aerial Ace, and that is a good game. Pretty nice lead in the next match, HAKAMO'O into another Toxicroak. As you're seeing from these battles, the Fighting Cup meta is extremely condensed, meaning that if you play it a lot, you're going to be seeing a lot of the same Pokemon again and again and again. I shield up the Mud Bomb, and I should be able to reach double Dragon Claw before they reach their next Mud Bomb because my opponent threw on suboptimal timing, which does allow me to outpace them by a turn. That's huge. Dragon Claw takes down the Toxicroak. In the back, they have their own HAKAMO'O. I'm able to get 3 Dragon Tails worth of damage, which honestly does a lot to their HAKAMO'O. They're going to be firing off the Dragon Claw. I'm going to let it through, and then I should be able to reach the Mud Bomb. This should just about KO their HAKAMO'O if they let it through, which they do. In the back, they have HAKAMO'O, so they are running double dragons. And now it's all up to Buzzwole. Buzzwole is going to be firing off the superpower. I'm one short of the back-to-back. Superpower gets the shield. Buzzwole able to get there. Opponent went for the farm down. They did not get it. Buzzwole takes out HAKAMO'O, and that is a good game. Hopping into the final match, leading HAKAMO'O into Poliwrath. Typically in this meta, as we've seen, they're going to be running Scald and Ice Punch. I go for the Ice Punch catch, they hold onto their energy, and now my Toxicroak is going to get smacked with a Scald. Scald does a ton of damage, and I get the attack drop as well. That is quite unfortunate. I'm going to fire off the Mud Bomb. Mud Bomb, they don't have to shield it. They're going for the counter down, but then they decide to throw. That is a big mistake by my opponent, as they could have farmed down, but they must have lost count of my energy. I'm going to fully wait my clock, bring in HAKAMO'O, and now I can farm down, and I don't even have to take a move from the Toxicroak. Back in comes the Poliwrath, but now I am loaded on energy. I fire off the Dragon Claw. Dragon Claw does get the shield, but Poliwrath is going to fire back with an Ice Punch to grab that shield right back. I am going to commit the shield, over farming quite a bit, and here, it might be potentially nice to have access to Dragon Pulse, because Dragon Pulse would KO, whereas the Dragon Claw will not. In the back, they have Shadow Machamp. If I get baited here, things could get tough. I call the bait. It's the Cross Chop, and that should be game over. I'm going to fire off the Lunge. Lunge gets the shield from the Shadow Machamp. Shadow Machamp is going to fire off a move, but at this point, I can just save my shield for HAKAMO'O. HAKAMO'O will be able to farm down the Machamp, leave with the move. HAKAMO'O will be taking down the Poliwrath, and that is a good game. And now some final thoughts on HAKAMO'O in the Fighting Cup. First off, I think it's an absolute force to be reckoned with. There isn't really anything that hard counters HAKAMO'O, which leaves it to be an incredibly good generalist, and it can kind of fit wherever you need it to fit in the team. I do believe that Dragon Pulse is incredibly helpful because Brick Break doesn't really do much of anything for it, but HAKAMO'O, not really the most attack-weighted Pokemon. Running Dragon Pulse gives it that finishing power that it wouldn't normally have. Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. If you're enjoying the content, make sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel if you haven't. And a special thank you, as always, to our members here on YouTube. The support you guys provide is absolutely incredible. So thank you guys oh so very much. And until next time, I've been HomeSliceHenry.